Comedy legend Frank Skinner is back on stage with his first stand-up show in 4 years.
I think a man of my age saying my girlfriend is sort of on a level with a man of my age saying my skateboard.
Live in London this June, at the Edinburgh Festival in August, and touring across the country this autumn.
It's what I would call an Elton John joke. It's a little bit funny.
Book tickets now at frankskinnerlive.com.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Do it!
We've had... what was that?
That's my spine.
It's good, that.
Not the man I was.
Someone had a lovely evening.
Who was it that had to
watching
stay?
you last night.
Oh, really?
I should stress you were actually
It's cold on that car park.
Well, he then goes on to say he made sure we got our hours worth, so I won't investigate.
No, yes, there was... I was about to leave the stage and someone pointed out I think I'd only done 57 minutes.
Did they really?
Yeah. So I did another 3.
Excellent. Exactly another 3 or another 4?
I think I might have gone over. It depends which night it was, but I think, people pay for an hour.
Somebody said, hang on, you've only done 57. That's great.
I would say that.
It's a good sign, though. I took it as a good sign.
Yeah.
I've been at gigs where if people left a bit early, I would not have put my hand up and said, hold on a minute.
Oh, certainly, yeah.
So, I'll take that as a compliment.
Lovely.
And, you've been to shows in Edinburgh where people come on 8 minutes late and then go off 8 minutes early and stuff. I think,
Brilliant,
come on.
Yeah.
For some people.
Oh, yeah. Anyway.
What do you
for money, Frank Skinner?
May I please ask you a brief question?
You can.
What do you have... Do you have a rider on this tour, Frank, food-wise? Because I think of you as a sort of Robinson's barley man.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe some nuts.
I don't drink that so much now. A rider, we should explain if you're not aware of it, is a thing that comes with your contract to say what you want in the dressing room.
Yeah, so exactly.
But mine has changed radically. I think mine now says crisps, 1 bag of crisps, 1 sandwich, brown bread, any filling. Oh. What happened?
Someone's phone went off. I think it's yours, Frank.
Okay. Mine doesn't do that.
Oh, well, then it's mine.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounded like it was Anthony Joshua's phone. I imagine that's what he's got.
I think I got a text from Liberties. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, any
They've
news?
probably got their own ringtone, haven't they?
What's the news?
Yeah. Was that a Liberty Bell?
Yes.
The news is I can I have a £10 voucher to spend there.
Oh,
Tenner.
That's tremendous news.
In Liberty.
Apparently, every time I say brown bread on the radio, the deal is that Emily gets a £10 Liberties phone. Yeah, so it's that. It's like tea-making facilities.
Yeah.
Brown bread sandwich, any filling, and crisps.
Oh, you're so easygoing.
Yeah.
In the old days, it used to be 1 pair of black socks and 2 locally themed postcards with stamps.
That was when you were higher maintenance and more communicative with people, wasn't it?
Yeah, and when people just didn't say, oh, well don't come then.
If you're going to get stamps and postcards.
Cut your coat according to your cloth, etc., etc.
I like the idea of the new socks. You asked for new socks.
Black socks I'm still wearing some of those black socks, and that was from
socks?
'97.
That's a bit boring, though, isn't it? Couldn't you have just got any socks for?
That's
for
a
the job?
dilemma. What do you do when you get a hole in a sock? Do you throw both
it away.
Do you throw both away?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
I
don't.
just throw away the one with the hole.
What do you do with the other sock puppet
I
collection?
keep it on the off chance.
That you do a puppet show?
Yeah, it could be a puppet show.
You'll start darning. Is that what you keep it in case
No,
you
then
start...
I'd keep the one with the hole, wouldn't I, if I was going to start darning?
Yeah, I thought you said you kept it.
No, I throw the hole.
Oh, I see.
Keep the other
Well,
one.
can I say they make good cloths?
Do they?
Floor cloth. Yes, you can use them. They're quite
Oh, I
handy
see.
for that. If the hand is encased, do you see?
I always think keep a couple of black socks in case I go to a fancy dress party as Deputy Dawg. I think that, because how frustrating would it be if they said, you know, it's like 70s cartoon theme party, and you thought, oh God, I threw all those black socks away. But I'll have to go as Huckleberry Hound. It's not as good. Can't do the voice.
I think what we might be overlooking is that Emily just gave us our first ever mend and make do from Emily Dean.
So you wear the sock on your hand and use it to clean the car?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
I've never cleaned a car in my life, but if you wanted to clean a floor area, for example, or a spillage, I find it useful because I don't always want to get the marigolds out. That feels like a big commitment.
Wouldn't it?
And I feel a bit Dr. Frankenfurter if the neighbours come round. I don't like the Frankenfurter look.
Wouldn't it make more sense to put them on your feet and clean the floor?
That would be fun as well.
Because you've got socks and floor. It's calling out for feet to be used as a hand.
And you'd look great while you were doing it.
You could put on a Chubby Checker's Greatest Hits and twist the night away.
Yeah, exactly.
I once saw Chubby Checker's Greatest Hits, and it was 14 tracks, and 9 of them included the words twist or twisting. Stick with what you know, Chubby. Also, I'll tell you after.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We've heard from Ian, 996.
Oh, yeah.
Ian.
Hi, gang.
Ian, I-A-N or I-A-I-N?
He's I-A-N.
Okay.
But don't get too excited because I'm afraid he's pointing out an error.
Is he dissing us?
I wouldn't say it was a full-on
Is
diss.
he stepping to us? That's what they say.
But know this. You'd need white socks to go to a fancy dress party as Deputy Dawg. He had white feet, not black. Just saying.
Yes. Can I say, Ian? He had black, droopy ears.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you meant
And
ears.
that's where I was going to wear the sock.
I thought it was an ear-based reference myself.
Because if you listen to this show regularly, you know that one thing about fancy dress is that you just wear trainers or anything on your feet. No one ever completes a fancy dress outfit. The feet always let it down.
Yeah.
And the Deputy Dawg's, I'm sticking with that, Deputy Dawg's ears, they stood out a lot for me because they were quite sock-like in consistency. It was strange.
Look, it's a simple mistake. What I'll concede is I didn't specify I would wear them on my ears.
That's right.
But sometimes with comedy, it's nice to leave them a bit of working out to do as well.
You're nudging at the pictures that you're painting.
Yeah, but
I just say,
Ian, you're right in that that he had white feet.
Yeah.
yes.
But as my English teacher said at school, to me, it's fine to be wrong, but not that loudly.
Oh, I love that teacher.
Yeah.
Can I just say...
I wish he hosted Question Time.
You know who I hate on Question Time? Everyone. No, I hate... There's always a man in the background, or a woman, but there's a loud voice.
But man.
Often a man. But there's a loud voice going... And I'm like, say your piece or be quiet. You know, those ones who just chime in.
What I hate most on Question Time, and it's the most excruciating, I feel myself fold up into a tiny ball of embarrassment, is when someone asks a question very forcefully. Can I just say, that, do we think it's right that blah, blah, blah is earning more money than a nurse doing a 48-hour week?
Yeah.
And then they have the conversation, they go back and say, so what do you think about the book? And they go, and they got nothing. All they had was their questions. Don't ever go back.
Don't go
back to them. You're going to kill those, but the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Frank, also...
Instead of remembering their big question, which they had, they're going to remember their, oh, no.
Can I also say what's worse is a smattering... a sort of 2 runs on the village green applause after they said, and I'd just like to say, if the government could maybe get on board a little bit more with this, then we wouldn't be in this situation.
And they expect the big applause break.
And there's that.
Yeah, but I don't like the way the politicians... Well, this has become a big question time.
Feet.
But the politicians say things and they move towards applause like that.
Yeah,
but maybe we can do that tomorrow. And I wish sometimes the crowd would have an agreement, don't clap. Like at festival, are you having a good time? Just nothing. I'd love that. I would so love that. Speaking of things that only men do, as you were mentioning, I think of myself as a warm-hearted, humanitarian, amiable person who doesn't want to see anyone come to any harm, right? But whenever I see...
to that, the producer laughed.
Whenever I know, but whenever I see, and it's always a man, whenever I see anyone riding a bike with their arms folded, I can't fight it. I want them to fall off and really hurt themselves.
Yeah.
Now that's not good. That's not good in me.
It feels a very human thing, though.
It's like everyone who ever held handlebars is a loser, is what they're saying. I don't need handlebars. Or just a little stone in the road or something that just makes them...
Well, I just think, what are you, some sort of Russian acrobat?
Yeah, it's really...
Sort your look out.
If you're listening and you do that, please stop doing that. That's fair. That's sort of public service message.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a message in, haven't we, Al?
We've had a couple from Ian.
Ian.
Do you want to break the Ian news?
Ian of Deputy Dawg Gate. Was it Deputy Dawg?
Deputy Dawg. Spelled D-A-W-G.
Yeah, that's how I was saying it, hopefully. Because my instinct at first was to just say Deputy Dog. Yeah. Which isn't... It's not the thing.
No one remembers him anymore.
Anyway, I don't know if our readers can cast their minds back to just a few moments ago where you were saying that you got 3 black socks on your rider so that you could do a Deputy Dog impersonation.
Free.
Not 3 black socks, as in 3 lions.
No, that might sound like I was going as the 3 of spades.
Yes, it wasn't that.
3 black socks on your rider.
Anyway, there was then a little brouhaha where Ian said that you'd want white socks, and you said no, he had black.
Well, he said because he had white feet was what he said.
That's right, black feet.
No, white feet.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I've messed this up. But
no, it's
now,
okay.
Goodness.
Ian has now responded saying he had white ears too. Full stop. Love Ian.
Okay.
So,
and he has got white ears, right?
Yeah, it turns out he has got white ears.
Yeah.
You were thinking of Droopy, I think.
I was thinking of Droopy, and it's a similar thing. But you know what? I was wrong. Mea culpa, mea culpa, mea culpa.
Good for you.
Now, Ian did start by saying he'd got white feet.
He was wrong.
He did, yeah.
But even so, he did not. Deputy Dawg, it's official, did not have black ears.
Well, I think Ian perhaps sensed that this would be a difficult moment for you, because a minute later he then texted, "You could go as Huckleberry Hound. He had black ears."
I love that.
I've put the tone in there.
No, that's lovely.
Ian.
I think you'd be a great Huckleberry Hound. I've got...
Oh, my darling. Oh, my darling. Oh, my darling Clementine. He sang that every cartoon.
Nice
if I
yodel
went to the 70s cartoon theme
Let's
party...
call it the Hanna-Barbera party.
Hanna-Barbera, I would go as Benny from Top Cat.
Okay.
So I'd have a purple... cat suit underneath, because he was purple in colour, you may remember, and a white... He had like a white, almost tuxedo jacket with just the one button.
I don't know if we had colour telly at that point. Anyway, I'm going to play something for you.
Okay.
Good stuff. It is what I consider to be one of the strengths of this show, that it is happy to be corrected.
I think I like to follow in life generally the basketball thing of if you commit a foul and it's called, you raise your hand and say, yes, I did that.
Really?
I think it's a good thing. I used to have a thing on TV shows that I worked on. Is if someone made a mistake, you would have to say, I'm sorry I made a mistake. Including me, but people got resentful about it.
Less frequently, you would be my guess, but yeah.
It went about as well as the speech I used to do about having friends in Birmingham who were really bright, intelligent, and who got jobs like working on the bins, and if they'd been living in London with the right connections, they would have been working in television and appreciating it more than people who got it easy. People never liked that one either. Anyway...
Tallulah Mayhem has tweeted us
Tallulah Mayhem, I love it.
to say the worst thing on Question Time is when someone asks a question and a worthy, desperate for approval politician goes, "Thank you, Alison."
Oh,
Whatever
yes.
their name is.
Yes.
I like that, Tallulah. That really annoys me as well.
It is a suggestion that the ordinary voter matters to them, which of course they don't. Of course they don't. We know that. Why pretend?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, you could do a fabulous sort of analysis of the human species from just Question Time.
Yes.
Everything that's
Fabulous,
wrong.
if not depressing. But
A little
it would
bit
be there.
depressing, but I think a little bit depressing is not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
I mean, I, for example, just lately have started responding to things by going, whoa, which is a Mr. Bean thing. And I started doing
I wondered what you
as
were
a
doing.
joke, and now it started to become natural. And I've done it with people who I know, but don't know what I'm doing, and
Fine.
they think I'm drowning.
Frank, I really need you to do this on Question Time.
What about if they said yes? And what about what you at the time completely denied that, and now you've changed your policy?
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Now we have an email that was hanging over. It arrived at the 11th hour.
Oh, right. At the.
I don't mean the first Matt Smith episode. I mean the 11th hour of the last.
Oh, was this when I'd gone to the airport?
You scarpered, didn't
Yeah.
you?
I left.
So you left. It became very men's
How
club.
was it without me?
Oh, it was really blokey.
the room suddenly smelled awful of perspiration.
And links.
I did
I
actually
thought
pick
it
my
might have all
nose.
got a bit, you can leave your hat on.
Yeah, exactly.
But it didn't.
That's I think that is the worst song
So
that
do
was
I.
ever made. I honestly do. I can't think of a song that makes me feel more sick than You Can Leave Your Hat On.
Probably read the second hour's playlist there, Frank. Bad news for you.
Is it on?
Also, the least sort of, I don't know what the appropriate word to use is, but it wouldn't get me in the mood.
No, that
Particularly
idea.
the hats.
The idea
I
that
don't
it
want
was-
hats in that area.
You can leave your hat
No.
on.
Leave your hat. No, don't leave your hat on. What, some trilby?
I think you'd have,
Or a
I'd have
flat
to-
cap. I wear a flat cap. That's no use.
I'd
Well,
have
not
to
with me.
use
Well, not with me, you
the
don't.
Ringo Starr quote. You can leave your hat on. No, you're all right. Anyway, we had an email responding to. We had a
Yes.
conversation. The conversation
We've had many. But
was an
this-
ongoing thing that we have in here about Kinder eggs
Yes.
and the fact they are illegal in America, because in America you cannot sell a foodstuff with something inside it which isn't a foodstuff.
Oh.
In case someone takes a Kinder egg like a lozenge and swallows the plastic
Have
toy.
there been any Kinder fatalities?
Good question.
That is a good question. I don't know the answer to it.
Okay,
But
maybe Ian will know.
They invented Kinder Joy, which is
Yeah.
the American version. Kinder Joy comes in two halves, one with the gooey chocolate and the other half with the toy. So
Well, sounds a bit, you can leave your hat on.
But
Yeah.
then part two, and this is part three that's coming up. Part two, someone said that their friend had immediately, on hearing about this conversation, said, "Well, what about fortune cookies?" Which was a
Yeah.
very good point. But
And now John
Now-
has emailed, "Hey guys, is it because fortune cookies are given away free in the US and not sold?" And then he adds, "Nailed it." With an exclamation
Well, what do we
mark.
think?
Well, also, can I just say, Al, he has nailed it, John. Maybe that's his name. Maybe he's like one of the
Nailed It
Crays
John.
or something. Nailed it, John.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll tell you what, give old Nailed It John a call. He'll be down
Oh,
for
yeah.
that. Do you know what I mean?
Or it's
Like,
nailed it, John saying, like, you don't know Jack.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that kind of.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Okay.
has John nailed it? Is the question. What do you think about that? You see, I think I could probably go to the Wing Yip Chinese warehouse
Yes.
near to the. I can't remember
Oh,
where
it's a
it
bit
is.
of a...
A12.
Is it
It's near the
Wembley?
A12.
Near Wembley.
But if I went there, I think I could probably buy fortune cookies.
I think
Do
you could for catering
Yeah.
In a big catering box.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, do you remember those people? There used to be a place called Macro.
Oh, yeah.
People say, I've got a Macro card. What? You could go in there and buy
Oh, man.
That was
man.
the,
big boxes of stuff.
That was the Black Nando's card of its day.
Yeah.
It began the national obesity crisis because people
Maybe.
would go in and buy like 24 Mars bars because you could get them like that. And obviously
right?
they'd ate
No.
most of them before they got home.
Exactly.
Well, I would say with the fortune cookie, you're correct. You can
Cookie?
buy. I was going to say cookie.
Fortune
Fortune
kicking.
cookie. Fortune cookie. You can buy them as a wholesaler, but they are given free generally to the public.
Yes.
Nailed it, John is correct.
Yes, it will. Here's my thing. If I... do you remember those teddy bears that would occasionally be exposed in the paper as having razor-sharp elements to their skeleton?
Yes.
And the one had come through and a child had nearly, all
Yeah.
that. If I was giving them away free, that wouldn't get me off the hook, would it?
No.
I think if I'm joking people, the fact that they didn't have to pay for it,
Yeah.
I just think, who are the people that take a Kinder Egg like a lozenge? But I'm not saying they deserve to die because they're that
No.
foolish.
But the point being, it's not illegal to eat them; it's illegal to sell them.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, Nailed It, John has a point.
Well, I'm now obsessed by this, how many people, but I don't know if we should be doing death statistics on
How
here.
many
Don't think
fatalities
the
as a
producer's
result of a...
Not
She's
in
shaking her
agreement.
head.
She's
I think she might be worried about
I remember reading about
Hello, Mishkondareya.
a serial killer in Central America who
That's
killed,
nice.
and he'd killed 80 people exactly.
bang on.
Yeah, and I thought he was one of those blokes. Those blokes who, when they put petrol in, have to click till they get the exact round. But it's not the right place on breakfast radio. Shouldn't it be about sunshine?
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So tonight, obviously, is the Champions League final.
Yeah.
Two managers, one German, one Argentine.
Oh, I loved that. Sounded like the beginning to Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
What word will they definitely use in their interviews? There's a word that's become completely and utterly embraced by managers from overseas, and I think they are attaching a significance maybe I'm not getting. But what they say more than anything is moment.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
It's a very special moment. But in this moment, it's... And where
do
does
like
that
a
come
moment.
from, the moment thing?
I've got it. It's an X Factor thing.
Oh, like this
Well,
is my moment.
Well, they have the journey, the moment. This, you get Simone will say, this is your moment. This is your night.
Can you imagine Poch and Jurgen Klopp singing, "This is my moment"? It's
Do you think they've picked it up from watching X Factor?
No,
do you
can't,
think they're watching? They watch the football on a Saturday.
Don't over, please.
Get back. They have their shower, and then they
Yeah.
eat with their family, and then they watch X
I
Factor.
don't know if Klopp has the shower. But,
Well, I'm gonna try
He's
and-
not as clean as Poch, I don't
Doesn't
think.
You don't think so?
What do you
Poch
think?
is immaculate. He's like you,
Interesting theory.
Frank. Immaculate.
I might try and do a moment count tonight.
Oh,
and
that'd be good.
see how many we get.
Yeah. You
And-
could have a drink of barley water every time. We'll turn it into
Well,
a
we used to
drinking
do a
game.
thing with the Queen's speech where we used to pass round something to each other that was watching it every time she said Commonwealth.
Oh, nice.
And the one who was holding it at the end got a fiver from everybody. But
Oh,
those were
that's good.
simpler times. We could make it 20 now
Fiver?
with
Yeah.
the moment game.
I don't think, they literally watch the X Factor. I would say that sort of language has
But they use it in
entered
different
the
ways.
lexicon now.
They say things like "in this moment." It's really become a thing. It's freaking me out. I watched the Europa League.
Did you?
So did I.
Cop.
I watched it
You're
with
not-
David Baddiel.
I like the idea that you watched
Quiet
it with
week.
David Baddiel at his house, and I was watching it on my own in my house,
You weren't in your house.
15
weren't.
doors away.
You weren't.
You come up my
Oh,
You said you were going to his brother's house. Too far away.
That's where I was told I was originally.
you guys know this is on the radio, don't
Yeah,
you?
sorry. Sorry,
known
I
FS
forgot.
was up
This
the
is one of the
road.
rounds you could have during the the
What I
songs,
love-
rather.
I know.
What I love
I thought
that.
he'd be with Giles.
You know, I love the Chelsea manager Sarri, and he's.
Yes.
I know it's very unfashionable to
Yeah.
chain smoke, but I do. I watch him suffering throughout the match, desperate, chewing things and stuff. And the idea now that the Europa League Cup is in his office 2/3 full with cigarette ash does delight me.
Did you see Frankie got out a cigar at the end?
I know. He got out a cigar and he showed it to another player. Like, look at this. It was like a kid who'd been given a fabulous bar of chocolate. He was, look at that. And he undid they come in little metal tubes. He undid the little tube and showed them the actual raw cigar.
Oh, he was so excited.
But he was so naughty boy. I'm going to have this now. Whoa! I can hear him doing that.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
We have had a few people guesstimating the solution to the to the fortune cookie thing. You know, we were saying that fortune cookies contain something inedible and therefore shouldn't be for sale in America. If we are to follow the idea that the Kinder Egg has got something inedible in this. Some people, many actually, are saying, is the fortune cookie paper made of edible rice paper? So the little fortune is actually...
I've never come across an edible rice paper. I think
Have you
they're
ever
more-
tried? Have you ever tried to...
Hold your high horses. I think they're a little bit more like the Christmas cracker joke in consistency.
Yeah, I
Would you
think-
not say, Al?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Oh, I love that you
don't
back
think-
down
I don't-
so
I mean,
easily.
I like
think I
the
backed down.
idea.
Just
I like
wasn't
the
sure.
idea that they're on rice paper, but I don't think they're true. I think that's people just thinking, oh, it's Chinese. There'll be rice involved.
You could just consume the wisdom of the
Yeah.
fortune cookie. What have you had for,
That'd be
what have you had for pudding? Well,
That'd be frustrating,
wisdom.
though, wouldn't it? Because you said, oh, there's something in there that'd be really helpful to your decision making of the rest of your life. You just ate it.
What sort of things do they say in fortune cookies? You will. I mean, I'm not. I don't really use them for their soothsaying.
They say things like it is time to reach out and be brave with new endeavours.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds.
And stuff like, you'll be hungry again in an hour.
Yeah. And sometimes they're very Chinese. They'll say things like, be brave in your decisions, lest the titmouse fall prey to the viper. But I don't see them so much now. They've got they're very mass produced now. The
Yeah.
fortune cookie.
Yeah.
I hope there is a person somewhere, a head office, fortune cookie head office, FC, where. That they actually are some sort of soothsayer. I'm really hoping. I'm hoping they've at least made a gesture towards it being legit.
It seems like it could be.
Sorry, Al.
I mean, if you're a person, that's sort of the commercial end of being a philosopher, I suppose, isn't it? Like poets work for train companies and football teams and stuff now, don't they?
I'm
But you know-
imagining. Sorry, Frank.
Yeah, but when you hear of the police calling in psychics and stuff. No,
Yes.
but does that
Started.
does
No,
that
they
happen?
do. They do.
Yeah.
Absurd.
Well,
But I also think, with regards to the fortune cookie ink, I'm imagining a man or woman, perhaps with some incense burning.
yeah.
I think he might go through his office area, might have those beaded curtain. Frank,
Yeah,
that we like.
in
that we
his
say-
section.
In his
Nice.
section. He goes through to a beaded curtain,
And
and
if
there
the
will
rest-
be a gong. There will be a gong.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
There'll be, but the rest of the place, they're packaging food and stuff like that. But it's just he's got that, or she has got that one little bit, and a massive piles of tiny bits of paper and a very small typewriter. Like a court stenographer in the astral world. Oh, that's how they're produced.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, on the subject of the foreign managers, do you know when you call someone their wrong name and then call them that forever, even when you discover their right name.
Oh, have you done that?
So the Arsenal manager, who is
Unai
called,
Emery.
yeah. When I first heard Unai Emery, I thought it was Hooray Henry.
Oh, yeah.
And I've called him Hooray Henry. Not even as in an attempt to make levity. I just think of him now as Hooray Henry.
Difficult.
And then I thought, do people even use the term Hooray Henry anymore? It used to be quite a commonplace.
Yeah.
It's gone the way of yuppie, hasn't it?
But Hooray Henry was a level above, wasn't it? A bit posher.
Yes,
still.
you're right, yeah. Yes. Bit of a hooray. Now it's... Well, I think of them as the sort of made in Chelsea. That was
Yes.
the hoorays.
Would that be a contemporary Hooray Henry? Would be one of those
I think
things?
they're probably
so.
a bit more... I believe the phrase is Euro trash.
Wouldn't
They're not quite as posh as the originales.
Wouldn't Jacob Rees-Mogg, wouldn't he?
Oh, he might sneak in as a Hooray Henry.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
see him
I'm not going to
managing
let
Arsenal.
that go.
You're
I'm
not.
not going to let that go. The hoorays were altogether flashier breed.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
maybe.
the
Yeah.
Hoorays had
They
a
were the
sports
Bullingdon
car.
Club.
You've got it.
Yeah, he's
Boris
not that
is a
flashy, I
hooray.
don't think.
Yeah.
Jacob Rees-Mogg not.
No, maybe you're right.
Do you see?
Maybe
Been
you're
a
right.
lot of politics today, hasn't there?
Yeah, no, we're never allowed to talk about it. The elections
There
are
has
over.
been a lot of politics, Alan. Thanks for your question.
A lot of politics. Yeah, exactly. We're going back to that lady. What do you think about it? Oh, terrible television.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I'd like to get your thoughts on something, boys. It's to do with Simon Cowell. You're familiar with his work.
Yes.
That's my affectionate nickname for Simon Cowell.
You know what? I'm actually not that familiar with Simon Cowell's work, but I am somewhat familiar with him as a media figure
Yes.
from this show, really.
He used to be a record, not producer, but one. What did they
I
call
think you'd
him?
call him a mogul.
A
He's
mogul.
called a
He was
mogul.
he was a mogul.
How do you get that?
Well,
Leave school at 15, of which more
12,
later.
15. I'd like to know how
Well,
you can become a mogul.
he made a lot of money from discovering Robson and Jerome.
Oh yeah.
When I say discovering, getting them rather cynically to release a single.
Record deal.
Because they were in a TV show.
Soldier.
Yeah.
And
So good.
Actually doing...
Anton Deck, he was responsible for their music career.
Oh, yeah.
Was he?
Psych.
Okay. I interviewed him once and I said, so what kind of music do you listen to, when you're in your car and at home? He said, thing is, I have to listen to music at work.
Right.
I don't want to. And I sort of thought you might like it.
Yeah.
I didn't get any impression that he liked music in any way.
I love it if someone said to you and Alan, what comedy do you watch or listen to? Oh, I do comedy at work.
Yeah.
I don't want to laugh on my
I get a
days
bit
off.
fed up of words after a while.
I don't like laughing after a while.
It's a lot
Fair
of
enough.
people won't actually fess up to not liking music, though. But you meet people, and I can soon, after a few interrogatory questions,
You can find
I
out.
can work out that they don't. When they say, I like all kinds of music, that means you don't like any music.
Well, I think also people are sometimes frightened to admit the music they like. I was too frightened to admit I always wanted 80s music on. And now it's so great. I feel liberated, partly due to Absolute 80s.
Yeah,
Because I
they
feel
brought
it's a
that sort of thing
respectable
out of
station to ask for. I say, could you put Absolute 80s on, please? I've advertised it.
People love it.
Sorry, but I love it.
You'll be on the pledge now for creep of the... What was it? Groveler of the week.
Oh, yeah. Simon Cowell, boys,
Yeah.
he has been talking about education. He's not a fan. He said in an interview this week that his son Eric, brilliant name by the way,
Fair play.
Won't-
Shout out to Eric.
won't benefit from school. He said, if I could take him out of school at 10 to start working for me, I would. He's turned into some sort of Mr. Bumble figure.
I mean, that is quite a big if. I think that is...
Well,
Yeah,
he's
legal.
also said...
Legally couldn't do that.
He said he thinks he's better out of school than in, and he addressed the issue of homework, and he felt children got overstressed. He said when he was a child, he would just throw his homework away. He'd throw it
Brilliant.
away.
Yeah.
But that seems a bit strange, because how
I
can you
love
throw
it.
away something you haven't done? And
Well, you
perhaps
could-
if he'd
you
paid
could-
attention at school, he might have understood the language slightly better.
What? Well, I think that
What did you make of this?
I don't see how you can be anti-homework and then still have judges' houses.
Oh.
Surely that's contradictory. They should say, look, if you can't get it all in at the studio, Simon, don't come to my my Malibu beach house.
Skinner like a truth-seeking missile here, straight to the double standard.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with him on the homework thing.
Yeah.
People do say this a lot.
I always think the homework is a bit... You know when you go in a cafe and they've got handwritten signs... And there's 2 or 3 letters really squeezed up at the end because they haven't really planned ahead of it. That's what I think the teachers are doing if they're giving homework.
Oh, yeah.
I think that it should be made to fit into the school day. And then when they come home, they can, do Lego and all the things that kids do.
Or nothing. Just
Do they have to do homework every night, by the way?
No, well, I don't know. I mean, my son's only 7, but he gets like bits and dabs. I don't like it. Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Legally, this is why Simon Cowell can't take his kid. I don't know what it is in America, where I imagine he lives. But here, you have to go to school till you're 16. It's a legal thing. I know not everyone does, but hey. Is there a legal obligation on the homework? If I said, you know what, he's not doing any homework, I don't believe in it, is there any comeback on that?
I don't believe so.
Well, in that case, you've witnessed the beginning of a new era.
Yeah.
Wow.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We've got some breaking news. The legality of you sending a child to school not doing their homework.
Okay.
Which is a position that I agree with, by the way. 786 has texted, you may have signed a parent agreement with the school that says you will support and encourage your child with homework. Not quite the law. Never heard of legal action being taken, though.
No.
So I think you've probably...
I mean, I don't want to cause a big storm about it, but... I don't quite understand why it exists.
We've also had a few corrections because you said that the kids have to stay in school until they're 16.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Quite a few corrections, and I had a conversation about this just last week. Children have to be in education or apprenticeship until 18 now. The days of just walking out of school at 16 and getting a job are over. You can't do that anymore.
I remember...
Can I just ask the panel, though, if those are your views? Sorry, can I just say...
Well, I remember a couple of my mates, 3 of my mates, leaving at 14.
Right.
You could leave at 14 then.
Different times.
Yeah, and they got egged.
Egged.
Yeah, they got egged on their last day. Now, if you got 10-year-olds leaving, can they tolerate?
Well, Frank, I
think
remember...
They handle an egging. They might die under the barrage.
I mean, I don't want to be controversial, but I do think we're babying children too much now.
You want more eggings,
I want more eggings, and I want them to be allowed to walk out of the school and get a job. I ordered a hot chocolate for me and another one for my son the other day. 2 hot chocolates, and they said, we've made you 1 hot chocolate and 1 warm chocolate because it's for an infant. I mean, how babyish are they? Can't you just have hot chocolate and wait
Did you
a bit?
call them babyish? It's my favourite term of abuse. Stop being so babyish.
I think it started with outrage, and then you started to say, well, I'm not paying full price for the warm one. You haven't used as much power.
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
right, though? That's a warm chocolate. Whoever ordered a warm chocolate?
It's not even a thing.
It's hot. I hate a warm
clue's
chocolate.
in the
I like it
title.
hot. And also, I think this leaving school early thing... I mean, I'm not, I don't approve of what he's saying, but I would like to point out, Frank, that one of my relatives, I believe it was my great-grandfather, was made redundant from the mines at 12. And
but...
when I found that out, I mean, the concept of redundancy and at 12, and I remember this relative...
I think it's hard for kids to take rejection that early.
12.
Different times.
This relative of my mother said he never got over it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Whereas today he'd be like, I think a tech startup with my redundancy money would be a good idea.
You think,
12. Redundant at 12.
But you know when people say, I don't think they should have like winners and losers on the sports day, because it's bad for them to experience failure. But imagine redundancy at 12.
From the mines. How did it...
That is that's hard.
I know.
One question I'd like to ask is, do you think a dog has ever run off with someone's homework? You know, that was a traditional... Do you think that
Did he eat the homework as well, the dog? The dog would eat the homework.
I think this comes... that period after World War II and there was a paper shortage and children had to write on sausages at school.
My dog has eaten a photo.
Has it?
Now... See, I'd be suspicious of that if that was in court.
No, he doesn't eat. It's not like you get back and there's nothing there. There are always remnants of it.
Yeah.
But they chew the ends. They do eat, well, pretty much anything. I would say it's possible. The A4 nature, traditionally, of most homework would lead me to believe that would be a big ask for a dog.
Yeah.
Well, but they usually say run off with it as well, don't they? As if they've taken and hidden it somewhere.
Oh, right.
If anyone listening has had any dog-related... homework experiences, I'd love to hear about.
Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
We've accidentally lit up the switchboard here, Frank,
Really?
with discussion of when it's legal to leave school in the United Kingdom.
I'm shocked that thing about 18.
And I'm so sorry.
I'll have to reorganise
Can I
my
just say-
finances.
I think you're all right.
You're
And
right.
can I just say, Frank, we've also had some actual real life dog ate my homework
Really?
stories.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, 611. Hi all, love the show. Sorry about the praise. My dog once chewed up the Petri dish we'd been given for a biology homework experiment. And yes, my teacher was very dubious.
Yeah, I bet.
And similarly, 739, our dog ate my daughter's art homework. Sarah in Chesterfield, 204, morning all. Praise redacted. My dog chomped her way through the S section of my legal dictionary. Not sure what she was trying to say
I
about the
love
law,
that
but
dog.
that would hamper you.
Well,
if,
what
It would, yeah.
That dog is better educated than Simon Cowell. I like that dog.
Yeah, but I bet she said, right, so what? We now that we've given the verdict, we have to, well, you know, when you say how long they're going to be in prison, we have to, don't tell me, it's on the tip of my tongue.
if they did make it to being a judge and somebody went sustained and they went, what?
Yeah.
What's that do?
We've also had 306. My rabbit nibbled halfway through my maternity notes, which I had to then take to every doctor's and midwife appointment for the remainder of my pregnancy.
There's something...
Every time I saw a new person, I had to explain the shredding.
We
something
didn't
I
ask
like
for
about
rabbits.
that.
We
No.
didn't ask for rabbits
We
eating
didn't,
homework.
but what
We
I like-
expressly said dog eating
What
homework.
I like about
Wow.
that is that rabbits, of course, are one of the great symbols of fertility.
Yeah.
And then they were eaten through the maternity.
I mean, we've had all sorts. We've had
Beautiful.
tortoises going to
What?
the bathroom on work here.
Tortoises go to the bathroom.
Oh, one of the most
We've
harrowing.
had parrots,
That'd be a journey and a half.
parrots tearing off corners of books.
Really?
Yeah, there's all sorts going on here.
So it's not so...
Dogs eating tenors.
Yeah.
Not Placido Domingo, but the note.
£10
I bet
notes
you
earned
Simon
through
Cowell is
hard
at
work.
home now writing all of these down. Excuses he can use for Eric. Eric.
Do you think Simon Cowell is projecting a little bit of anguish from his own school days? Do you think that's why he didn't like school? I feel like he got a wedgie that has lasted through to adult life, and that's why he wears his trousers so
I
high.
don't think he still wears them high, does
I
he?
think he still does. He got so used to it at school
him?
that now he can't wear them at normal
The
level.
button is up by his neck.
No, that's still not. Didn't he?
He
Wasn't that
does.
his initial attempts at a facelift? He just held everything down onto the belt. And then it flapped up. You know when you see like the roller blinds go up and go. That's what his throat was like. Because now, I mean, the way I've said this before, but the way Simon Cowell looks now is. When he was on that Loose Woman interview, the woman says, "Oh, he looks like you, doesn't he, Simon?" Unfortunately, you don't. She didn't. I wanted her to. She didn't.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Can I ask you something? Because something awful happened to me this week. which was I was on a flight to Belfast, and I mean that was wonderful. But there was a gentleman sitting to my left, and he did something which I find unacceptable. And I just wanted to know what you thought about this. He got out a bag of Doritos, and he held them aloft and poured them into his mouth.
What is this? Hang on, was this a brand new bag? It wasn't like the tail end where there's the bits.
The mini Doritos.
The little bits.
It worries me that you seem to be already moving into a direction where that would be acceptable.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
Frank
I
Skinner.
think for what I would call the action man Doritos at the end. I think that's all right.
The crumbs,
yeah, the crumbs, because they're very hard to get at.
Yeah.
Even if you take out a really good, you get your finger ends and you can get a cluster, there's always a bit in the corner.
But why would you want shards of Dorito in your throat?
Well, otherwise
This
it's
is
food waste, isn't it?
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm sorry to get onto this. It's really, I'm getting flashbacks.
Remember,
It's upset me.
I grew up in a family where my dad said if we threw bread on the fire, the devil would pop. So the wasting of food for me is quite a big deal. So in this situation, I'm with the man.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank.
God.
No.
no.
Pressure. I
Wasn't it?
had a very proud moment this week when my son dropped a piece of pancake on the floor and went, no, which he obviously heard me doing. In case you're new to the show, it's a Laurie McMenemy impression from way back. Anyway, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane.
I mentioned briefly earlier, or I referred, I should say, to a character sat on my left on a plane who was guzzling Doritos into his gullet.
Yeah.
And I disapproved. You two thought it was the most normal thing in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine to drink.
Commendable.
Fine to drink the last bit, I think.
Even commendable.
Or Frank even referred to the small shards as the Action Man Dorito, which is a moment I'll never forget. Sorry for sounding like Pochettino, but David Haggett has got in touch via Twitter to say man on train pouring Doritos into his mouth. Maybe he needed to avoid getting the dust on his fingers. Was he wearing a suit? On the way to an interview, maybe? Firstly, I like the dust, Doritos dust, making it sound like it has sort of magical properties.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's virtually no dust on Doritos.
Oh, there's a lot of orange dust.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Depends
see
what
the orange
flavour.
dust.
Perhaps I'm eating the wrong Doritos. Mine are not that orange.
Blue packet or orange packet?
I never really look.
Okay.
I once saw
I had
somebody...
to pack it like 2 nights ago. I couldn't describe to you what. I don't think they were genuine. You know, people like Sainsbury's make Doritos.
Oh, I think you have snide Doritos, yeah.
Right, moody.
Moody Doritos.
Moody, innit?
Is that what they?
Moody Doritos.
It was like the finger-licking southern chicken.
Yeah, fake Doritos.
Did you have Dixie fried Doritos?
Yeah, Maritos or something, but very similar packaging.
Can you not use the word Doritos?
I
Is that?
think so.
I was wondering. We played Valerie earlier.
We did.
By the Zootons, and I was wondering about if legally Patisserie Valerie
Oh, yeah.
could bring that out as an advert. So they go Patisserie Valerie. Da, 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 da. It's a bloke going Patisserie every now and again.
Can I ask a question?
Would that be illegal?
Is it still going Patisserie? I think it might have closed down. I think we've got
No.
VHS.
I think
No,
it
I
was
think-
in a bit of trouble, but
I think it was in a little bit of trouble.
It rallied. It's that kind of
Came
talk
back.
that closes businesses down.
And it
Yeah.
did close.
There'll be a rush now. Shareholders listening to this will go, Sacre bleu!
I'm sure they will.
Well, we all know what happened to Bill Clinton's cards
Yes.
as a result of my involvement.
Sorry,
You all right, Frank?
I'm all right, thanks. It's
You know
fine,
what
I
that
have to.
is?
Don't open that bottle.
You know what that
Do
is?
not.
Sorry, everyone.
That was like the world's worst radio play.
A bit.
Except I finished the sentence.
A man falls off the wagon.
In radio plays, they say, radio
Don't open
plays,
that bottle.
They say, don't open that. Martin, I thought you... I told you never...
And then you'd have to have this. Don't open that.
Yeah.
The sound of them clogging.
Yeah, Radio 4 would be... Giles, don't open that decanter. Oh, Lordy.
Are you all right now, love? You had some
I am.
Dorito dust.
Thank you. Doritos dust. Just talking about Doritos.
Chris from Woodley, Frank, says, I always eat nice and spicy knickknacks on the way home in my suit.
Oh, okay.
And always pour them in so I don't get greasy fingers.
I must admit, I think
Good strategy, Chris.
Nice to get a text from a high flyer, isn't it?
But from an aeroplane point of view, I always think aeroplane very much mini pretzels. That seems to be what they dish out.
Yes, well...
He brought on own Doritos.
You know, he brought on own foodstuffs, which is a whole other discussion I'd like to have. I mean, all I'm saying is I've never seen anyone eat bread like... I mean, it was like a character from Les Miserables. You know when they take an urchin in one of those films and they go, you haven't eaten in months. And they go, and they devour everything in sight. He was like that.
Well, I'm on Sunday brunch tomorrow.
Are you?
And you know, you have a phone call with the researcher telling you what's going to come on.
Yeah.
And they said, so we're doing these various meals. And I thought, Risoltamondo. She said, bread is one of them. I thought, what? This is my week. People do these elaborate. I get bread.
Oh, I'm going round to yours tomorrow, so I might watch you on
You are
that.
now.
Yeah, I am.
What
She
about?
is now.
Yeah, when you're out. Okay.
Did you know that Emily burgled? That's a sideline. That'd be great if you were one of those lady burglars, a bit like Raffles.
Oh, brilliant.
I mean, Raffles was a man, but nowadays, 2019.
Brilliant.
I don't see why women shouldn't burgle.
Agreed.
That would have been applause on Question Time. That's all I'm saying.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
We were discussing food just moments ago. I mean knickknacks, but I'm going to use it as a launch pad into a question about myself actually, because I've shocked myself eating out quite recently.
Oh, well, we're all a bit shocked you ate out.
We eat out a lot, but me and my family, 2 children, 2 adults, were driving to the Lake District and we made a decision to stop off at T-Bay Services. I don't know if you guys are aware of this.
T-Bay, no.
It's the posh one. It's like a farm shop and
I thought it was like
very
eBay,
nice
but you
food.
can only get different brands of tea.
Oh, yeah.
Very good.
Like the Yorkshire eBay. eBay gob.
But it's very good. If you ever get the chance to go to T-Bay Services, I highly recommend it.
Oh.
But on the way...
What's he after?
On the
So,
way...
Frank, extraordinary holiday recommendation.
I'd got hungry and we'd made the decision to stop off and I said, I really fancy pie and chips today. I fancy pie and chips. And my kids said, I fancy pie and chips as well. And my wife fancied pie and chips. So we get out of the car and I go up
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
You should have had pie and chips.
Well, we did have pie and chips.
I knew it.
Spoiler alert, we had pie and chips, but we walked in and they have this nice cafe and it's all local food and for local people. And they
Getting the picture.
but they had like a children's menu board and it said children's menu plus £1 on an adult meal. So if you buy an adult meal, you get a kid's meal for £1. But on the children's menu, it was stuff like sausage and chips, fish and chips, burger and chips.
But did they have pie and chips?
No.
Oh.
But I'd already
no.
said to the kids that they could have pie and chips, and they wanted pie and chips.
And you're thinking, I could have got them this
But for a
pound.
quid, and so they had adult pie and chips each for something like $8.95 per person
That
instead of a.
heartbreak. Did they eat a big adult size?
They had a good go at it, yeah. And I paid for it. I cannot believe that this happened, and I've been feeling not myself since. And it's probably a fortnight or 3 weeks ago.
The car must have smelt with the stuff they'd left it wrapped in that doily.
It smelled of paternal fury. That's what it smelled of.
So you were upset because...
I spent almost £20 compared to what I could have spent.
Is that quite a lot?
£2.
It's an awful story.
It's an awful story.
It is.
I mean, I think it makes me a good dad, but I feel like I've fundamentally changed as a person. It can't be the real me.
But I think what you have to do...
For me, I'm thinking pig saw it didn't happen.
What you have have to do, Al, I think, is if you can cast your mind back to a time, I mean, you may not even have been around, but certainly when I was growing up, there was no such thing as the children's menu.
Right.
So if you went out to dinner, children just ate the adults' food.
Yeah.
So we weren't
Right.
catered for individually.
We never
Yeah.
went out,
There was-
to be honest. We never ever went out for a meal.
Well,
ever.
no, you had that lovely toasty bread your dad was burning on the fire, conjuring up the devil.
Couldn't go on the fire.
But if we went to, we just ate the adults' food. So I think if you can try and perhaps remember, that's a relatively recent.
I honestly think part of the problem was that the children were with me. If they'd stayed at the table, because we were outside, it was quite a nice day, and they had the dog. But if they'd stayed at the table and I'd gone in and seen that the pie wasn't on the kids' menu, I think I would have come back with children's food and said to them, "There's no pies left. This was the last one for me."
Could you?
That's cruel.
I think I would have lied if they hadn't been with me.
Could you not have had like sausage and chips? And then you could have got theirs for £1 and give them your pie and take their sausage.
Oh, hang on. So I could have
thanks,
ordered
Skinner.
them an adult meal and me and my wife a child's meal to
Well, no,
go
you
with
could
it.
order them the child's meal, but have sausage and chips, and you two have pie and chips, because you adults are more flexible. Then you could have had their sausages and given them your pies.
Oh, you know what? Just get 4 pies and be done with it.
That sounds expensive. That's what I did do. That was
No,
expensive.
that's. I think
Frank's way.
I think we've worked out already that was a ridiculous outcome.
Hang on, I think Frank has just worked out how I could have saved £18 about 3 weeks ago.
I still don't
No,
understand
I'm sorry.
Absolutely furious.
It's all you got to do is downsize to a sausage.
dear.
That's not a general rule of life. Don't isolate that as a jingle.
Never worked for me.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I've just had an email in which I enjoyed,
Oh, yeah.
which is from someone who's still got an AOL email address, and I respect them for that. They sound like
school.
my kind of person. Hello,
Oh.
Fiona. She says, are you familiar, I should say, with the concept of the show I'll Get This, Frank? Our mutual friend Adrian Charles was on it recently, and it's where 4 celebrities gather. They do a series of dinner party games, and the loser
Oh, I've heard it.
has to pick up the tab for everyone.
Is it called I'll Get This,
I
Frank?
believe it is.
No, I think it's called
but it
I'll
should
Get
be.
This.
Oh,
It's called I'll Get
I
This.
thought you meant it was called I'll Get This, Frank, which wouldn't be a bad title.
I've said that before a few times.
Yeah.
Fiona says, hello there, wondering whether Alun will ever appear on I'll Get This, the dining game of Jeopardy. It could make excellent TV, seeing his panic gradually rise
Poor
throughout.
Alan.
Yeah.
Hoping it'll happen one day. That's Fiona.
Well, he'll never appear on I'll Get This, Frank. That's for sure. Oh, dear. Can I ask you, we had a sort of a legal question before, didn't we, about whether homework is...
We did, and we've had a few answers saying that there's a sort of...
parental agreement.
Yeah.
There's a loophole. I smell a loophole. But
Mhm.
anyway,
Do you? Yeah.
I was on a walking holiday recently with my partner. We like to walk,
Yeah.
and we were going. It was an Oxfordshire type walk. We started off at Didcot Parkway,
All right.
and then walked to Shillingford. That was day one. Okay, and the next day we ended up in Reading. Just for those of you who are interested, might be someone at home who likes the idea of maybe putting a little map together while I'm
Yeah.
discussing this. But one thing, and this always happens to us at least once when we go on a walking holiday, we went through a field where there were bulls
Yeah.
in the field.
Yeah.
Now,
Just find something comical.
well, yeah, it's actually...
You've been stampeded, haven't you? In the
I
past?
was properly... Well, one bull.
Yeah.
I don't know if one bull can stampede. I was certainly
All right.
charged.
charged.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll Get This, Frank.
So was I at T-Bay Services.
I
That's
know.
another story.
Yeah, it's one of the most terrifying experiences of my life. Being
How did
charged.
you
Scary
stop
just hearing
it
about
attacking
it.
you then?
I didn't. I ran. And my hands were full. I had an electric kettle in one hand. And don't ask. And a bag of shopping in the other. And I ran, and I could. The floor was literally shaking as this thing ran after me.
Terrifying.
That is such a last of the summer wine scene.
It is, it totally is. And I ran up a stile. You know, in the stiles,
Oh, yeah.
well, I didn't have a hand free, so I literally ran up it without using my hands. jumped over the other side, and this thing hit the fence. The whole fence went boom, and I thought the fence was going to come.
Right, we could have lost you.
Exactly.
Oh.
But if a public footpath is going through a field, surely you can't have balls in it, can you? Is that allowed?
8, 12, 15.
8, 12, 15.
There'll
Any
be a
farmers or law experts?
I bet the word gelding or something comes up like
Something will
that.
come up.
Why do people get called Farmer Giles?
If anyone says pizzle, we'll be off air. That's my prediction.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
On this walk, Kath and I, we went past what Kath claimed was, and she knows a lot about these things, what was Kate Bush's house.
Oh, really?
And it was a remarkable moment. We stopped. You could only just see it through the trees. It's more or less obscured by trees, but there's one place on the path you get you can see the top 25% of the house.
Oh.
And she stopped there and had a look on her face like I've never seen on her before. I suppose to continue the meat pie theme, if you ever see a dog look at a out of reach meat pie,
Yeah.
it was like that. It was real longing. And,
Is it like those memes where they say, find someone that looks at you like she looks
the way
like
that Kath
at the top
looks at
25% of that house?
Yeah.
Bush's house.
Well, she's never looked at me like that. But that's because I think one of my great strengths is my attainability. But yeah, it was really something. We've passed a few things on our walk. We went past Checkers the last time we walked. It was less exciting, but still
That
exciting.
must have been a lot of security.
No, not really. We basically walked through the garden.
Wow.
Was it like going through customs at Belfast when I walked through with my case and I went, "Hey, how are you?" And that was it.
That was it.
That was it. He literally said,
Just
"Hey,
get
how
on the
are
plane.
you?" No, you just walk through. I love it. My
Brilliant.
kind of town.
I don't know if you should have made that clear that's what it's like no. We went past the former MI5 safe house, I remember once.
Did you?
That was lovely. Yeah. Very nice.
I would feel the way Kath felt Bush's 25%.
Yeah.
I would feel the same about Vince Cable's. I mean, I'd need 50% for
Okay.
Cable, but I would feel the same. I'd
Well,
feel
it's an interesting
misty-eyed.
point. Whose house would have
make
that
you-
effect on you?
Yeah,
If you
Vince
saw that.
Cable, possibly
I don't-
Alan Bennett, although I've seen his house.
My bet is that Al doesn't have anyone who would do that. Am I right?
What, someone's house?
Someone, if you saw their house, you'd have that longing look of
Is it the man who
love and-
invented
Probably
the
Bruce Lee, innit?
It's Bruce Lee, or it's the man who invented the concept of bog off.
Oh, yeah. That
No.
legend. Sorry, I was reading a text about cows because, you know, you asked 8, 12,
I'd
15.
love to know the
how-
answer to this.
That's what I was looking at.
The fact is, if I shot one in self-defence, where would I stand legally?
Good question. I mean, I think carrying a gun is probably the
Yeah.
problem. But
Oh dear.
Okay.
Oh,
What if
no.
what if I
136
killed one with a house brick?
136, good luck with that, has told us some farm animals are not allowed in fields if they are a particularly aggressive breed.
The bull I'm putting in that category.
Farmers can still farm their land and may need to run a bull with the herd. Most problems arise from cows with calves when people don't behave sensibly.
Yes, I agree with that. I behave
Accusing you, I think.
I
there.
behave very sensibly if there's cows with calves.
Yeah,
It's often
running
people-
around with a kettle and a heavy
I was
shopping.
only running. I wasn't intending to run. I was being chased by a bull, for goodness sake. Anyway,
Maybe you just saw the kettle in your hand and fancied a brew. Or
No.
running towards a cup of
there was
tea.
no need for that, though.
Can I say Joe
a
Banks?
charged kettle never boils. I don't think that's
Frank,
true.
Joe Banks says, I'm a teacher. Just so you know, we were talking about the dog ate my homework.
I'm
Yeah.
a teacher. Are you chewing?
Joe Banks says, I'm a teacher, and Joe Banks's greyhound once had a comfort break on a class set of books.
A
She
whole
just
set?
mocked.
Oh,
Yes.
that now what you've turned it upside down there because that's the teacher now.
Once the
Yeah.
homework's in.
Yeah.
This is like
Beautiful irony.
This is like a man bites dog. we finally put together that scenario.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
You were telling your story about being not stampeded, charged by a singular bull.
Yeah.
873 has sent in, dare I say, an anecdote. On a similar line to Frank's story about the bull, about 20 years ago, I arranged a holiday in Tenby in South Wales for 10 lads in their late teens, early 20s.
Legend!
Lads!
Do they have T-shirts saying, if found, please return to pub?
Oh, I don't I feel a little ill now. Although I can
Take
accept
me
it from
drunk,
young
I'm
people.
home.
Oh, no.
Whilst on a walk one day to find a football pitch, lads, we found a bit of flattish grass without cow pats. We chased a few sheep away for our game. Then said sheep came back mob-handed with around 100 of them charged at us. So we quickly fled.
The sheep charged.
The sheep charged them
I
in
like
numbers.
the idea that the sheep got together
I loved sheep mob-handed.
and made a conscious decision to have an organised rumble.
Hooligan sheep.
I've never heard of aggressive sheep.
I reckon one of them was, and the rest of them just
Well, that's often the way,
Yeah.
of course. Often the way.
joined in like sheep, didn't they?
What they should have done is just kept walking around and around the pitch until all the lads fell asleep.
Lads.
But they hadn't planned ahead.
I like
Brian.
that. I thought that was the acceptable face of laddishness there.
No, it's all right.
Anecdote.
They owned up. Because a lot of those lads' holidays, it would have ended up with a big lamb supper.
Well, it would have ended up also with Doritos thrown down the gullet,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
afraid.
Well, I went on a lads' holiday once and we said, shall we put the tent up now or shall we go straight to the pub? So after that decision had been made, we got back to the tent like 1 a.m, very drunk.
Where was the tent? Where was the lads'
This
holiday?
was in Burnham-on-Sea, I think. So what we did, we just lay on the floor and pulled the tent over us like a big duvet. And lay like that.
Different times, though.
Different times. I'm not saying I'd do it now. Not saying I wouldn't.
Wow, that's depressing. Brian Hine has been in touch, Frank.
Brian Hine.
I wonder if adults can have a warm chocolate. I'm sick of burning my mouth. This is in reference to Al's earlier...
Yeah, the infantilising. I mean, granted, it was for a child, but they
the
said...
infantilising of your infant.
Yeah. Giving out warm... I would just say to Brian, grow up, Brian. Just buy a hot chocolate and wait a few minutes extra and you'll have a warm chocolate.
But Brian's right, though, is that it can take out 2 or 3 hours of pleasure. What a burnt tongue.
The
You can't
heat,
taste
the
anything.
heat of the drink.
Oh, no, you've got to be careful. Brian's right. Can we just say that? Official absolute policy. Don't drink very hot.
We should also, we've had a lot of, thank you for all your dog ate homework texts.
Yes.
We've had mad bulldogs, eating all sorts of homework, all sorts of animals,
So
Frank.
it really happens. How
It
amazing.
happens regularly. And a number of teachers as well, having, not just that one, not just the Greyhound incident.
Thank you for joining in. We're sorry we can't read them all out.
No.
But it's a bit like at the end of Vision On. We can't show any of your drawings, but we do give a prize for any that are...
No, we don't.
Oh, no. We can't return any of your drawings, is what they used to say. Can't or won't. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.